But Kinsey, it looks like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will be iced out. What more can you tell me?
Well, can you blame America for icing them out? Harry
to celebrate the 250th birthday. But Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are set to be left out in the cold, lots of people are saying, and basically because they are no longer.
The announcement didn't just miss the mark. It blew up like a whole reputation bomb that rocked Montecito and left Harry and Meghan looking stunned on impact. Overnight, every outlet, from messy gossip blogs to polished newspapers, blasted the same cold headline with zero hesitation.
Joining me now is celebrity and royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, multiple sources have told Page Six that the royal family will travel to the US to celebrate.
The royal family was touching down in America, and Harry and Meghan weren't just skipped, they were completely invisible. Not invited, not mentioned, not even a tiny nod in the fine print. That silence hit harder than any statement could ever do. And it didn't stop with the headlines. Within hours, the vibe flipped from shock to full-on public embarrassment. This turned into an international show that exposed just how far the Sussex brand had slid. The conversation wasn't, "Why were they left out?" anymore. It shifted to a brutal, "Why would they be there in the first place?" That tiny change in tone told the whole story.
Now, the royal family is gearing up for a trip to the US to celebrate America's 250th birthday next year, but there's of course speculation that there will be no reunion with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. They're reportedly...
The couple who once owned every magazine cover had faded into background static, and now the world was treating them like old updates nobody checks anymore. Diplomatic circles were whispering about needing clean optics for the tour. No chaos, no sideshows. American event planners quietly admitted they wanted stability and dignity. Even entertainment commentators, usually hungry for Meghan and Harry drama, sounded relieved the traveling chaos wasn't being brought back into the mix. And for Meghan, who built her post-royal image on polished appearances and curated moments, watching the biggest stage on the planet get built without her name anywhere near it had to sting like crazy.
50th birthday. Prince William and Princess Kate will be in America in July, while King Charles and Queen Camilla.
The world's spotlight was heating up, but she wasn't even in the waiting room. What made it even harsher was how clear the palace strategy looked. This wasn't avoiding the Sussexes. This was erasing them, clean and intentional. No soft excuses, no polite explanations, no gentle language. The royal household simply moved on, steady and unbothered, like Harry and Meghan were a previous marketing test that got shut down after the results came in.
In the cold, according to sources that told Page Six. So, Andrew...
And in Hollywood, where relevance is the real currency, nothing cuts deeper than being treated like you never mattered in the first place. The British monarchy stepped back into America with full confidence, and they didn't even need to raise their voices to do it. All the palace had to do was show up without the two people who once acted like they controlled the whole storyline, and that alone sent a huge message across the world.
Meghan have spent the last nearly 6 years disrespecting both parties involved here. At one point, they accused the royal family of racism, and Harry...
It was a quiet hit, but everyone felt it. And under that headline-level embarrassment, another harsh truth was bubbling. Harry and Meghan's whole empire wasn't just shaking, it was slowly folding in real time. Netflix. The same company that once treated them like premium trophies suddenly went silent, way too silent. After the first big documentary hype faded, every new idea seemed to crash before it even left the dock.
In July, but no reunion, apparently.
Absolute 250th birthday bash for America, hurrah!
Executives stopped talking about promise. They started whispering about burnout. Spotify made things even worse. It wasn't just a partnership ending. It was a giant platform cutting ties, and then a top executive calling them grifters on air. A sting that sticks forever. Meghan's attempt to rebrand with her American Riviera vibe only made everything look more awkward. The woman who once imagined herself leading global projects was now selling jam jars and monogrammed accessories like a luxury craft shop owner. The internet saw it instantly and didn't let it slide.
Once said on a phone call with who he thought was Greta Thunberg that
So when the palace rolled out the royal tour announcement, the timing hit like a thunderbolt. Meghan was trying to rebuild with homemade goods. Harry was hanging on to fading documentary plans, and suddenly, the real royals stepped out with an agenda that made the Montecito hustle look tiny. The contrast wasn't small, it was brutal.
Trump had blood on his hands. Harry has become allegedly a pot-smoking, pay-for-play royal speaking at a Hilton in Toronto next week, and Meghan is a...
One side stood on legacy and real service, the other on sponsored gift baskets and quiet cancellations. And the rough part for the Sussexes was simple. Reality doesn't get a filter or a re-edit. There was a moment when Harry and Meghan were centered on the world stage, ready to reshape the monarchy for a new era. Meghan was supposed to be the American icon, blending polished charm with royal responsibility.
To Windsor Castle, I was outside waving the Power Hour flag, as you know, and reporting on that. And during that visit, the President Trump invited King Charles and Camilla and the royal...
Harry was the prince people admired for being open and human. Together, they were promoted as the perfect mix of old-school tradition and fresh, modern energy. The palace had set the path, and the world was watching with wide eyes. But they wanted something different, something louder, flashier, and way more independent than anything the palace could offer. They walked away from the machine that once boosted their every move and convinced themselves they could build an even bigger one from scratch. That confidence turned into the biggest gamble of their entire public life. They misread the institution they left behind and overestimated how much the world wanted a royal brand without the responsibility that comes with it.
A visit to celebrate the 250th anniversary. That is going to be a wonderful tour. Obviously hoping that the king is well enough, because he's obviously...
That mismatch is starting to show in real time. Now, the roles they tossed aside are thriving in the hands of people who actually show up for duty instead of drama. The Commonwealth positions they shrugged off are being handled flawlessly by working royals who don't need a camera team following them around to prove anything. Even the charities they stepped away from have grown stronger without a single Sussex appearance, which says a lot.
His health scares and so on and so forth. But they have been invited for this state visit in April, and they're gearing up for this star-spangled trip to celebrate.
The wild part isn't that Harry and Meghan lost influence. It's that the monarchy didn't lose a thing. The machine kept rolling, the events continued, the duties stayed on schedule, and the world adjusted faster than anyone expected. The pair who once believed they couldn't be replaced are now learning the toughest lesson in the game. Nobody is irreplaceable when the institution has existed longer than your whole family line, and that truth is starting to hit hard. What the palace revealed wasn't just an itinerary, it was a full strategy. 2 tours planned months apart designed to dominate American media from spring into summer.
Working royals, that's the main sort of reason they're not going to be there. So the Declaration of Independence, well, they declare themselves independent from the working royals, and as a result, it's going to...
King Charles and Queen Camilla will take the formal side, the sit-downs with leaders, the cultural touches that build deep connections. Prince William and Princess Catherine will bring the charm, the glamour, the global magnetism that always gets attention without even trying. It's a masterclass in soft power, and it leaves zero space for any Montecito storyline to sneak in. The real genius is in the timing. By the time the second tour kicks off, America will have spent months reconnecting with the monarchy in a way it hasn't since Princess Diana turned every appearance into a moment.
That she spoke to. They didn't name that celebrity. Do you remember that? And I do know I've been out to Montecito, and I do know that they've bumped into John Travolta there before.
People will be reminded of exactly what the royal family represents: stability, continuity, and tradition, the same qualities Harry and Meghan tried to challenge while chasing total independence. The visuals are almost too clean. 2 royal couples stepping onto American soil with confidence, unity, and purpose. No scandals, no Netflix cruise, no pop-up interviews, just the institution running its playbook with total precision. And behind all that shine, Harry and Meghan will have no choice but to watch as the country they once thought they could dominate becomes the stage for a full royal comeback.
So when they've been at the Polo Lounge as well. So it's a great place. The Polo Lounge is a great celebrity hangout. We're talking about bravery. So there's another quote here from this article where she's talking about her children in jam.
One that doesn't include them in any way at all. And that's the part that stings the most. The palace didn't have to push Harry and Meghan to the side. They simply evolved past all the noise. Meghan always believed America was her territory, her stage, her home ground advantage. She built her whole public identity around that idea. The modern American Duchess, the relatable figure who connected 2 worlds and rewrote the playbook with her own twist. She pictured red carpets from LA to DC, reporters chasing her opinions, fans echoing every move she made.
I'm so sorry. I mean, what does that mean? That goes completely over my head, and it just goes back to the narrative that she's talking nonsense. I mean, really? Jam?
But now reality has pulled up fast, and it's looking nothing like the dream she sold. She can't spin this one. The American public has already made its choice, and the answer is crystal clear. Kate is the one capturing hearts, headlines, and attention, and Meghan isn't even close to touching that level. Every wave, every greeting, every perfectly polished smile from Catherine is set to take over media cycles like wildfire. Fashion editors will break down her outfits. Commentators will study her presence.
She is with this project.
Yeah, thanks, Matt, for that.
It's utter drivel. I completely agree. I just think that
Influencers will shift their focus toward her without hesitation. Hollywood circles will hurry to secure a moment in her orbit. Charities will chase after her endorsement. Photographers will follow her like she's the main event, while Meghan's Montecito mansion sits quiet, stripped of the glam she once claimed she could command. And this isn't just a bruise to her pride, it's a total breakdown of the identity she spent years constructing.
the situation is that she's doing nothing brave in her life. I mean, for 5 years, or almost 6 years, she's been out of the royal family. She's been said that she was gagged while she was in there. Clearly, she's not. I mean, she hasn't got anything.
Everything she presented in the Oprah interview, every deal she made with Netflix and Spotify, every hint about being the monarchy's next evolution, all of it collapses under the weight of one single royal tour announcement. America is choosing tradition, elegance, and duty over a self-built spotlight, and Meghan is left standing alone, a duchess without a stage, a celebrity without an audience, and a storyline she can't control anymore. And if Meghan's worst fear is losing America, Harry's fear hits even harder. His nightmare looks like complete erasure. The country he ran toward now embraces the family he walked away from.
There's nothing brave about what she's doing, and I think about some of the royal family members who, fought in wars or represented the country. That's bravery, not posing for a photo shoot with Harper's Bazaar. It's ridiculous.
Well, there's two other things from there that we picked.
His father will arrive and be met with respect. His brother will arrive and bring charisma, presence, and continuity. And the institution Harry once served will shine without him, leaving him on the outside as nothing more than a viewer. Not a prince in the public eye, not an heir, and definitely not someone the world depends on anymore. Harry, who once spoke about being the spare, is now facing an even tougher truth.
His childlike wonder and playfulness.
I think he would hate that.
Do you think he would?
I think he would hate that. Yes, I think he'd absolutely.
Because a couple of days ago, she was showing, the amazing footage when he.
He isn't needed the way he thought he was. Every connection he built, every role he held, every goodwill moment he saved up has quietly been taken over by the heirs and the royals who stayed committed. William will take the responsibilities. The networks Harry once built will now be used by others, and the respect Harry earned through service has slipped away because he stepped back from the very path that gave him purpose. He didn't just walk away from duty, he ended up making himself invisible to the very world he wanted to impress. Hollywood, the shiny playground Meghan once thought she could run, is making its choice loud and clear, and it's definitely not choosing her.
Down, and the alarm goes, and he's the hero running off to jump in his helicopter, and then she's calling him childlike wonder and playfulness.
I think, if she did that while they were still living in the UK.
When William and Kate land in the States, the A-list crowd will be rolling out the red carpet like a whole new era just arrived. Big names like George Clooney, David Beckham, Spielberg, Tom Cruise, all of them will be fighting for prime spots, eager to stand next to real authority and tradition instead of attaching themselves to pity or messy drama. Fashion giants, media powerhouses, and tech billionaires will circle in fast, all trying to get their moment, building an elite energy Meghan once believed she would own.
Portrayal of Meghan, definitely worth a read. Just before we move on from it, can you tell me about this? So she was makeup free. Is that right on the cover?
Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan will be pushed to the sidelines, lucky if they get a brunch invite in Malibu or a tiny headline squeezed between bigger stories. That shift hits harder than any tabloid comment. Hollywood doesn't reward constant complaints or scripted victim vibes. It respects real influence, steady power, and people who stay relevant without forcing the spotlight. And in this cultural tug of war, the Sussex brand is slipping fast. The lesson is cold but clear. Power pulls attention in, weakness sends it away. Harry and Meghan fought hard to break free, convinced that stepping away from the monarchy meant real freedom, new opportunities, and an empire they could build on their own rules.
Again, bravery. This is pretty ridiculous. I mean, this was a thing that in Hollywood probably 6 years ago was some sort of form of bravery, and you would, not have makeup on. I know Pamela.
But freedom without influence doesn't mean anything out here. They can do whatever they want, yet none of it hits the culture the way they expected. The royal family takes over events, headlines, and global conversations while the Sussex team drops gourmet jam jars, quiet podcasts, and staged lifestyle projects that barely trend. Their independence turned into something that looks polished on the outside but feels like a cage on the inside. They can't shape the storyline, they can't direct the spotlight, and they can't command loyalty the way they once believed they could. Invitations fade away, platforms get smaller, and the influence they fought to protect is slipping through their fingers.
Just don't think, Meghan pared back. we don't want the physical pared back of her. We would love a little bit more about what she's actually going through, a little bit more transparency. And I think that she's almost using that to deflect from the fact that she's not.
Freedom starts to feel less like liberation and more like a quiet exile, a soft reminder of what happens when you walk away from the only system that guaranteed you'd stay relevant and celebrated. And now the big question hangs over everything like a storm cloud. What exactly are Harry and Meghan supposed to do when the real royals land in America? History shows they always try to make a move, but this time there are no winning plays left on the table. Any attempt to pull attention back will look like pure desperation. Another interview would be ignored. A charity moment would get overshadowed before lunch. A product launch trying to compete with the royal hype would get clowned online instantly. Even showing up anywhere near the tour without an invite would lock in the exact narrative they're trying to escape. The monarchy has taken the stage again. The public is fully locked in, and Hollywood is clearly aligning itself with legacy and stability instead of side drama. The Sussex brand, already a faded version of its early promise, is inches away from getting crushed in the cultural shredder, and everyone can see it happening in real time. This isn't just a snub, it's a clean, almost poetic dismantling of the Montecito-made image they tried to build. When Charles, Camilla, William, and Catherine arrive, the message will hit harder than any headline. You wanted freedom, so enjoy it from the sidelines, far from the spotlight you once thought you controlled. Watching from a distance while the world keeps spinning without you is the new reality they never saw coming.